Up next on the Marmy Rock Show, a band we have not had on the show for a couple years now. We have got Sepia back on the show. They are out of Baltimore, Maryland. They've got a new record called Drop Dead Gorgeous. I say it that way, I think, on purpose. And we have got Derek, Ryan, and Chris with us. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks.
So for folks that haven't been with us in a little while, it's been a bit since I had you on the show. I looked back. It's been a couple years. So for folks that may not be familiar with you, reintroduce us to the band with a brief bio of the band and how you guys formed and a little bit about who you are.
Okay. So I guess back in 2004, Chris was playing with a couple guys, just acoustic kind of thing. Another guitar player and a singer, and they weren't crazy about their singer. They didn't really like him, like his personality, and they asked me to come and play with them. I had met the other guitar player in the Marine Corps, and we played together in the Marine Corps, and he asked if I could come in, and we just kind of sat down, and everything clicked, and it was, from there, it was Chris, me, and another guitar player for like 5 years, and then the other guitar player left, and it was just me, Chris, and Derek, who joined us right about that time. And Colleen joined right after that, and we've been together as a whole band, the four of us, for
I think since 2009.
Since 2009, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So approaching not quite 10 years, but I think the biggest part, we have a great chemistry. We're all good friends on the outside, outside of the band. So I think it's kind of what's kept us together.
So your sophomore release is here in the form of a full-length release, so start telling us about it. How long has this been in the making, and tell us a little bit more about where it was recorded and who produced it, all the particulars.
Well, it took a little too long. We released Break My Heart in February 2013, played a lot around Baltimore, played in D.C., a little bit in Pennsylvania, around various places in Maryland. Did that for about a year or two. We're hoping to get the sophomore album out the year after, but I think we're shooting for late February, early March. I think actually March 2nd is our tentative release date.
But this album took us like 2 years to really get where we wanted it. I think we had to start from scratch halfway through, and it just wasn't going well. But it was so much fun to do. Like, I like doing it more than I like playing, and I want to continue to write and record more. But and not that I don't like playing, but I've learned so much, especially about writing and the process of music.
So tell us a little bit about the title of the record, Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's not Drop Dead Gorgeous, it's Drop Dead Gorgeous. So tell us a little bit about that title.
It's a little tongue-in-cheek, right?
It's kind of like a homage to one of my favorite bands, Alkaline Trio. They tend to do that with some of their album titles. They have one called Good Morning, Mourning, and it sounded like a pretty cool way to do it. It matched a lot of what the songs we were doing, and yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool.
So let's get into the record a little bit, talk about a couple of the songs. I've had a chance. You guys were kind enough to send it along, and I've listened to some, and I'm going to pick out a few here. So let's start with Born Yesterday. I want to hear the story behind that tune.
That's one of our newer ones.
Yeah, it's pretty new. I don't know. Like, I find myself not writing a lot of love songs. You know what I mean? Like, I self-deprecating stuff, and yeah, so I wanted something kind of touching and kind of like, but I still like putting a little bit of edge on something, and I like, sort of like a hook when it comes to the lyric, but I kind of had fun with that one. It was, lyrically anyway, I don't know, just kind of like a neat way to still kind of poke fun at myself, but kind of make myself a little vulnerable when it comes to, a relationship or a love song.
Yeah, I think relationships are a good theme of this album in general. So I think, like, some of the competing lyrics are like, you make me stupid like I was born yesterday. Kind of like, how could you do this, ring around your neck like Homer and Bart, right?
Now, one of the ones that caught my attention with the guitar riffs in particular was the tune "Change for You." So I want to ask you about that one as well.
I think we have between all of us, we all have different. I think I think we can all agree that we come from the '90s alternative grunge with a little bit of heavy metal kind of thrown in from back in the '80s. So I think some of those riffs come from homage to the old '80s things with a little bit of Nirvana thrown in. So that's kind of where I think that came from.
Now, last but not least, but one song I want to ask you about here on the record, I got a couple more questions for you, too. I don't know that I've ever interviewed a band that wrote a song about Delaware before, so tell me about that.
Hi, we're in Delaware.
All right, this is actually more of a more personal song, but this is one that Chris and I wrote years ago. Yeah, it's probably it's the oldest song, without doubt. But it was about my father dying, and he actually died in Delaware, and but it was kind of like a not a great guy, and it was sort of a thing about him and me coming to terms with all that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, years ago, I made a decision to go to college in Delaware, and I thought nobody would ever know what state it was because I'm from Maryland, and people out west don't know where Maryland is. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping it goes both ways. It kind of has that, that personal spin, but like if someone were just going to look at it on face value, like, oh, it's all about Delaware. That's where I live. So we're hoping that maybe that's some of the appeal.
There's not many, but we'll bring them in.
No, but I love hearing that there's this personal story behind that tune. I am joking tongue in cheek about Delaware, no disrespect to them, because there's some great bands coming out of there actually, and but it's nice to hear the story behind that. So, hey, if you guys were to pick a tune to do a music video from this release, I was trying to think about today, which one would you do a music video for?
I actually would be more interested to hear your opinion on that.
Well, now I want to hear Delaware. I want to see Delaware with that the story behind it.
Put it down. So that's actually what we're doing next is since we've been really trying to figure out a way to get this out on the internet more than touring or playing out live, and we have plans of doing I want to do at least 3 videos for these, and my opinions, I kind of want to do Change for You, Marionette, and I was thinking Born Yesterday, but I'm not sure. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Yep.
Sounds good.
I think we talked about concepts with Marionette, most definitely. Yeah.
Oh, Home was another one. Yeah, Home was another one. But that's really the challenge, though. I never thought I'd be making a music video or anything like this, but I want to try to be creative with it. Like we want to, something that is going to look visual, and how can we match a good visual with a good song and make it interesting and something that people want to come back and watch. Especially in the age of YouTube, we've argued this. I'm not sure people go to YouTube to listen. I think sometimes they go more to watch, and Greg kind of has the opposite opinion. I think that's up for debate, but I think you definitely need a good combination of both, and that's been a challenge, is trying to figure out what would work as a video. I'm not sure.
Now, you alluded to this just there in that answer. Is there hope for a live show? Are you guys going to do a few live shows at least, or what's the plan there?
I think so. I think we have our hands full with getting everything ready for our March 2nd release. But I think we're going to do some shows. We kind of wanted to leave a surprise, but maybe early summertime we'll surprise people with a couple dates.
We've been sitting in front of a computer for so long. We need to learn how to play our instruments. So it might be a little bit longer, but it actually is kind of sad. We have tried to practice, and it's like, oh my god, do we even know? Did we write these songs?
Yeah, we're itching to get back, or we're pulling back from that hole, I think, right?
And I don't know if we mentioned it, but we recorded this on our own. We didn't, we did go to a studio to track drums, but we did it mostly in our basement. On our own equipment, and we went through a couple iterations, re-recording, revisiting songs. So it's been, that's probably the most the reason that it took us so long was just the learning process. So
yeah, in the interest of supporting local music and producers and acts, we utilize a sound guy that we used to play at Sonoma's in Columbia a lot, and the sound guy there has a little side project to do mixing, so we utilized him for mixing, and we went to Annapolis, Killer Penguin Productions for our mastering. So they work with local and national acts, but we kind of wanted to utilize our group of friends to do that too. So
yeah, the
a little bit efforts, do it yourself kind of endeavor.
Maryland music scene is amazing. There's a lot of great DIY bands in Maryland. So, hey, two more things I want to ask you. So for folks that have heard the first record, think back and compare this one to the first release.
Ooh, that's a good question. So quality-wise, number one, I don't know if, I'm not really sure what angle you want it from, but quality-wise, it's
I just meant how you felt about it. How you feel as a band. Did you grow as a band musically?
Oh my God, yeah. But a lot. Like I said before, we learned a lot about not just the recording process, but the songwriting process.
Yeah.
That was huge. I mean, we had sessions. Some of my favorite sessions are us just sitting here and producing in post-production, just saying, hey, you know what that needs here? That needs a little bit of this. Or this needs a little bit. Derek walks in with a triangle.
Yeah.
I got an idea. I'm going to throw this in there. We're like, what? Come on. And it sounded great.
Yeah.
And it's just having that time to the other one we had it done in a weekend. I think.
Yeah.
It was.
We walked in. We had the pressure of the studio. We were on the clock, and it was like go 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 go. And this time we could kind of kick back and really kind of just let the creative process go a little bit more.
Yeah, for the amount of time it took, we certainly worked on more melodies and more guitars and putting some things there, and then sitting on it and coming back to it and listening to it and thinking, hey, this an extra effect would be good here, extra vocals would be good there. So I think we increased our musicianship and got the opportunity to put things in there that we wanted, and then listen to it back and agree that we liked it.
Well, I've loved watching the growth of the band. The record is called Drop Dead Gorgeous. I do have one more thing to salute you guys for and ask you about. You just threw it in there. I didn't know this about you. You mentioned two of you were Marine veterans. So just tell us just quickly about that. So who served in the Marines?
It was me and our previous guitar player, Brad. We were in the Marine Corps from 98 to 2004. And we started playing in Iraq. He got an old guitar sent to him, and it's like a nylon string guitar. It was in like 3 pieces. We ended up gluing it together and just started playing and writing some stuff. And he was actually neighbors with Chris, and they started playing, and the rest is history. But yeah,
I think that's the true origins of Sepia. If you narrow it down all the way back,
all the way back. Yeah.
Well, so much respect sent to you guys for your service to our country. And one last thing, where do you want people to go to find your music and to hear all about you?
Right now we're on HTTP, www.sepiaband.com. That's SEPIABAND.com. We'll be updating that shortly with all the new information about the new album. Eventually we're going to get out to iTunes, all the major channels, but for the time being, that's the website you want to go to.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. The record, again, coming out very soon is Drop Dead ... Gorgeous. I'll say it that way to get the title right. And had a good time talking with Derek, Ryan, and Chris. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it.